We are being videotaped as well. You have your headphones on. I'm also going to say hi to Rob as well. So hold on 1 second. Hey, Rob. He's laughing. So welcome to Luv U Detroit. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and I'm going to go right back to our interview with Les Molnar of Fist of Curry.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm Robert Hurse, and my brand is The Standard Detroit. We're the new standard for fashion in Detroit. Our goal is to encompass the city style as a whole. Like, the different neighborhoods, people dress different from Corktown to downtown, from Midtown to Eastern Market. So, that's what the Standard Detroit is.
Nice. Awesome. And how long has Standard Detroit been around?
Well, it's been an idea in my head for a while. But, I really just launched all my stuff here in the last 2 months. So, awesome. Really, drilling it down, trying to get it going. So, I'm basically still a startup. So, yeah. Awesome. That's it.
Awesome. Okay, so now Les, we're going to get back to you, Rob. But so Les, as I adjust my camera, tell me a little bit more about yourself. See, there you can see yourself. Tell me a little bit. How did you come up with Fist of Curry, the restaurant? Rob doesn't know about it yet. I have a feeling Rob is going to know about it
very soon. Yeah.
But tell me about how it all kind of started and all that good stuff.
Everything we do at Inlaws Hospitality is collaborative.
Wait. Which hospitality?
Inlaws.
No, what is Inlaws Hospitality?
Inlaws Hospitality is the name of our restaurant group. Mm-hmm. It's myself, Jacques and Christine Driscoll, and my wife, Jessica.
Okay.
And we're all in-laws. So that's kind of where that came from. Sometimes inviting your in-laws over is a good thing. Sometimes it's not.
Wait,
you can go either way.
It almost sounds like Lowry's or something like that. Like, is it going to be a
Nothing
huge?
Wrong Lowry's.
What is your vision for this company? Like, what are you trying to do?
We try to just go halvesies on happiness with people.
like that.
We get as much happiness out of providing good food, good atmosphere, good drinks at an affordable price.
Okay. Cool.
As much as we love fine dining too. I mean, everybody's got to eat, so that's the beauty of Green Dot, Johnny Noodle King, and now the Fist of Curry.
So you have 3 restaurants.
We do one in Lansing currently as well, Green Dot Stables out there.
So how in the heck are you able to manage a restaurant in Lansing at the same time as?
You drive a lot.
So 2 restaurants in Detroit and 1 in Lansing.
Yep.
And so did you start in Lansing? Is that what happened?
No, we started here in Detroit, Green Dot Stables in 2012. We opened up, and it's kind of weird. It was a little bit of a dream come true. I'm a native Detroiter from Delray.
Mm-hmm. I know Delray. Delray's kind of like, isn't that kind of like a? I don't want to say sketchy, but
no, it's 100% sketchy.
It's very sketchy. Like the first time I had heard of Delray was some reference in an Insane Clown Posse rap song. I don't know if you ever heard that.
That
song.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
It's called Fuck. Well, I promised Rob I wouldn't swear, but it's called F the World.
Okay.
And they mentioned some guy who controls like some sort of like lock or Sioux or like some sort of bridge at the Delray Bridge or something, and then he's cursing him out. He's referencing him, and by the way, F that guy who runs that thing at the Delray Bridge or something. Do you understand even what they're talking about?
I do. I know that bridge. I don't know that guy though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I grew up there, and I didn't finish living there. My parents and I we moved downriver.
Okay.
After that.
Where in downriver?
Allen Park.
Okay.
Oh, that's not far from me. I'm from Monroe.
Oh, nice.
Perfect.
A little Monroe action.
Monroe, that's right.
And then fast forward through my adolescence, and I left Metro Detroit to go to Chicago for culinary school.
Cool.
And then came back after about 4 years of kind of working and finding my lane out there.
Right.
I was planning on just coming to see family and then possibly move to another city to further the culinary aspirations, but met Jacques and Christine and Jessica.
Where'd you meet them?
We met through a mutual friend. A guy that I met in Chicago happened to be a native, guy from Michigan, and he was friends with Jacques, and then I made friends with him in Chicago. And
okay.
We both kind of got similar phone calls of like, hey, this guy's wanting to do something. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I was 26 at the time. I didn't think anything of it.
Yeah, because you're pretty young. How old are you now? You're pretty young.
33.
33. And you already have 3 restaurants?
Yeah.
Oh, my God, you're on a tear. So,
Yep.
but your background...
No rest for the wicked.
No rest for the wicked. So you're wickedly delicious, wickedly good. So basically, you went to. Do you feel like you really came into your own at the culinary school in Chicago? Is that where you really feel like you completely blossomed or whatever?
I do. I think culinary school taught me how to cook, but my love for food definitely came from my family.
Are you what?
Eastern European background,
Eastern European.
Polish and Hungarian,
Okay.
Bulgarian,
right?
Yeah.
You like paprikash?
Oh yeah, the Rhapsody down in Southgate. It's a great restaurant.
I've never heard of it, but that sounds good.
But yeah,
Is it spicy? Are you like a fan of
No.
spicy food?
Oh, I love spicy food, but yeah, I didn't grow up on that.
What do you think of spicy food, Rob? Do you like spicy? I love spicy.
Of course, I love
Spice
spicy
of life.
food.
Yeah.
But on Green Dot, when you guys put the gravy on the French
Oh, the
fries.
poutine.
Oh my God! Bring that
Wait,
back.
you know Green Dot in Lansing?
No,
in Detroit.
It's
Oh,
Detroit. I
Green
bring
Dot.
all my friends.
But what's the name of the
So,
place in Lansing? It's
Lansing
also
is-
called Green Dot?
Yeah, it's a second location,
Oh,
essentially.
so you already
Yeah.
know. You're already a fan of his restaurant.
Oh my God, those fries with that gravy on there. I was
yeah.
like licking the little.
Yeah, that makes
It
me
was
happy.
so freaking
Nice.
good.
It's basically Canadian chili cheese fries.
Oh, I
Yeah.
loved it. It was
Yep.
everything.
So it's better than poutine?
It is poutine. It's chicken and beef gravy with fresh cheese curds over it. But
I'm a fan of poutine and other things, but I've had poutine the first time in Montreal.
oh, that's the place.
That's the place.
to get it.
I read it somewhere
With the
that
source.
that I was supposed to try it in Montreal, and I did. I thought it was pretty damn good. So what is it called again at the Green Dot?
Poutine.
But it's called poutine, but it's a special kind of poutine that's like it's your own poutine
Yeah, I think
style.
it's. I think we call it like lay poutine or low poutine. I can't remember right now. Shame on me. But yeah,
Yep, the fries with the gravy.
yeah.
Yes.
Just get the fries with the gravy. They'll know what you're talking about.
It was
They'll
everything.
hook your life up.
Had you had poutine before, Rob?
No, that was my first time.
Damn!
Literally.
So you had his proprietary poutine.
It was delicious.
And that makes me feel great hearing that because that was kind of the motivation.
You already have a fan.
For what we do at Green Dot with $2 and $3 things is for $2 and $3 you can try something that maybe you've never had before, and whether you like it or not, it's up to you. But it's at least you're not breaking the bank going out on a limb.
Right.
And the food's really, really
Thank you.
good.
We try.
And nice and
Yeah.
just it's everything. It's so great.
The only reason why I know about Fist of Curry is, and the only reason why I know about Rob, and the only reason why I know about Foundation Hotel is because of my friend Shannon. That's the common denominator
Where's
here.
Shannon at? Where's she at?
Yeah, she has a job.
Okay.
Unlike us, we're all entrepreneurs. She works for the man Dan Gilbert. You may have heard of him.
I heard he's a thing here.
He runs this
Yeah.
town. Shh.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's right. She doesn't like it that I mentioned that she works at this place starting with a Q.
Yeah.
But like we'll keep that under wraps.
Hey,
Maybe you can
they're-
figure it
they're
out
doing-
by the end
they're
of the
doing great
show.
Things for the city.
They are.
It's
I'm a big
really-
fan.
Really brightening it up down here.
In fact, I have a song, Luv U Detroit, and that's kind of named after, this podcast is named after that song, and we referenced DG of that place that starts with a Q. And so, yeah, that's the common denominator, and she's supposed to be coming out of work around 4 or something.
Okay.
So I don't know what your guys' schedule is. I don't even know what my schedule is. I need more coffee, and then I'll figure out what my schedule is. So I'll be honest with you, though. The first time I went to this Fist of Curry, I wasn't even hungry. I think I'd already eaten, and I just sort of sampled something that Shannon was eating, and I loved it. And I liked it. It was very eclectic. I like weird, different stuff. And then she had taken me to some other place, some Vietnamese place in Detroit.
Flowers of Vietnam.
I want to say it was Flowers of Vietnam. She
it
keeps
Southwest?
yapping away about Flowers of Vietnam.
Yeah.
She said it many. I think that's where we went.
It's probably that place.
It was like a small little place,
Yeah.
and it was really good.
Just opened. Yeah.
We had this incredible fish.
Heard great things about it.
Yeah. So what are some of your favorite restaurants, like growing up or in Detroit? I mean, is Detroit really truly known for its culinary history, except for like the Coney Island?
Well, I think a lot like fashion too. I think it's on the come up. I think what the groundwork that's been laid here
Right.
is strong. It just needs time.
Yeah.
It needs people to, kind of further that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are with me with Luv U Detroit, Rob with his standard Detroit fashion brand line, you with all your restaurants. I mean, you're really truly like an like almost like what are when the early settlers came to Detroit, I mean, we're really literally creating Detroit from scratch again, and now we're making it like a cool, hip. I mean, look at this Foundation Hotel and restaurant.
I think that more that we're embracing Detroit for what it already was, and just
okay, good point.
It on the forefront and showing that people are really passionate about some things that you're really passionate about, and doing a great job at
it. I agree with that. I think
that is a good point.
Too, I think being born and slightly raised here, I'll say slightly because we moved out at a certain point, but I do feel connected. My dad worked down at the Renaissance Center for 40 years. I was never
really doing what?
He was an HVAC mechanic.
Oh, okay. I know about
engineer
that.
kind of
guy.
Heating,
cooling.
My mom was a hairdresser.
Cool.
So I knew I was going to work with my hands at some point in my life. I just didn't know what. And then cooking kind of became that avenue for me. But yeah, I was never taught to be afraid. I was always taught to embrace Detroit and love Detroit and find the good and the bad.
Because I mean, I'll just be blunt. I love you, Detroit. A lot of white people were afraid of Detroit. Totally. I mean, I'm 51. I was I grew up in Southfield in 1971, and the stories that I would just hear from my parents or my grandparents was, oh, Detroit was once good, and now it's all scary and crime-ridden, and it's best to be avoided and lock your doors when you go down. It was always something
since the 80s.
Right, but I've been going back and forth because I'm a comedian, and I've been hanging out in Detroit for years. But now it's so weird. I mean, up until about late, Detroit was always an unsafe place. Always.
No, we were just forgotten about.
We were right, but now it's so. Now it's like the element of fear is gone, and now the love is coming.
I would say there's a new fear.
People are embracing it.
They are.
Finally.
The only new fear I think that is here is that we're gonna lose what we were, and I think don't lose Detroit. Yeah, New York's great and has this, and Chicago's got that, and that's awesome, and LA does this, and that's sweet. But don't lose being Detroit ever. Still try to, compete and be great and work hard and do that stuff, but don't lose the city a little bit.
I feel like now Rob made a good point. I almost feel like when you restore something like an old building or a painting, and it's like almost as though we're brushing away all the old dirt and the old paint and the cobwebs or whatever, and we're seeing the true beautiful painting that Detroit really is. Yeah. And people were afraid of that painting for a long, long time. They said, that painting was amazing, priceless painting at one point, but now it's a crappy thing. And now we're actually uncovering it for what the true gem of Detroit. I mean, and Detroit is so important to America and the world.
It was a powerhouse back in the 50s and 60s, and that infrastructure is still here.
It's still here.
It was like
just gotta fill it in.
It was like Skeleton City before, and now it's back, and we're thriving. We're clawing our way back.
Yep,
we really are.
But
it's a success. It's a cool, Rocky,
it is
almost Rocky types. We were knocked out. We're coming back off the road. I mean, now we're going to come back as a powerhouse. I mean, what are your feelings?
Yeah, I just think that really speaks to Detroit as how resilient the people of the city are. And Christ, the people of Michigan.
Right. It's hard. I mean, with all the seasons and the weather changes, you got to be a little tough to live here. But, I think I still get a kick out of it, even because we've been down here for 6 years now. Since we
6 years with the restaurant.
Yeah. When we first started Green Dot, it was 6 years ago.
Okay. And where did you come up with the name Green Dot?
It was there.
I always wondered that too.
It was an institution. I mean, it was Green Dot ever since its inception.
Wait.
In 1971.
Is that a reference to the stamps or something?
No, it's a horse. It's a horse racing.
A horse racing
theme bar.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't serve horse meat.
We don't. I think it just became legal. Horse meat's delicious.
Have you had it?
Oh yeah. My wife and I went to Toronto for our 1 year anniversary and got horse tartare, and I was a little apprehensive, but it was delicious.
Okay, now here, newsflash. I actually have a major restaurant in our family, and my family owns, not my direct family, but my cousins all own the top steakhouse in Toronto on Elm Street called Barbarian Steakhouse.
Really?
Yeah, on Elm, and so if you ever are in Toronto again, you mention
go check them out.
My cousin Aaron, and he may give you a discount, he may not, or he may charge you full price.
Well, that's the cool thing about Detroit. We're like a stone's throw from Toronto, Chicago. You got all these
it's crazy,
great things around us. Yeah. There's no reason we can't.
Some comedian friend of mine has this joke. It's not hilarious, but he keeps saying like, oh, Detroit is the biggest. It's the biggest major city in America that's on the border of Canada, and it is kind of true. It is.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's like Detroit is unappreciated, but now it's going to be appreciated. It's the gem that. What are you going to say, Rob? Rob wants to say.
Get in there, Rob.
I mean, we're in a world. Listen, I've lived.